Falling sensation is very common. Many times we feel it when we are starting to sleep. But what is it? And is it associated to the out-of-body experience? When and how? Let's find out in a minute. Hello everyone, thanks for being with us again. If you are a subscriber, if you are here for the first time, be welcome. And we are going to discuss about falling sensation. Of course, not every time we have a dream of falling or falling sensation, it's necessarily associated to the out-of-body experience. However, those of us who have had conscious, lucid, out-of-body experiences, we know that many times while we are detaching or returning to the body, we tend to have this type of falling sensation. I said this, but these, because there are few of them, and that's what I want to discuss with you. The first and most common one is the hypnic jerk, and of course there may be in some cases physiological conditions that may produce that, but those of us who have had lucid detachment from the body, we know that many times that is produced because of a very sudden disconnection from the body. Often when we are more tired or very predisposed to detach from the body, like we can be lucid while the disconnection from the body is happening, then when that disconnection is sudden, it kind of surprises us. We are not completely lucid, that we are detaching from the body or leaving the body, but we are lucid enough to somehow get that sensation of a very sudden change in the, how would I say, gravity that we feel, because we are there in the body, and then all of a sudden we lose the sensation of gravity. Then immediately follows in our brain a small context to kind of explain that sensation. So usually it's related with falling. Either we fell, we tripped on something, or something is falling on us, but it's always to explain that sudden sensation of loss of gravity. So sometimes what disconnects is, for example, only one part of our bodies. Let's say it's only the arm. So we would have a jerk only with the arm. For those who are conscious astral projector, many times we are still awake, observing what is going on, and we sense our non-physical arm, for example, move, detach, and when it reattach to the physical arm has this sort of jerk, so we know exactly what is going on. But when we are not completely lucid of that process, this produces this type of dream that I'm talking about. Of course, one unpleasant side effect of this condition of this hypnic jerk is because it ends up breaking completely the disconnection from the body that we maybe were about to have. But another similar condition that we may experience, but it's completely different type of falling sensation, is that we feel when it's already in the middle of the night, or when perhaps we are already outside of the body, and upon returning to the body, we have a very quick sudden return, and that return produces the same condition because we kind of create an image in our mind that we are falling, and when we finally hit the floor, we feel that we wake up in the physical body. So it's different because whilst the first one was generated because we were detaching, and that would produce that sudden change, especially in how we sense the gravity, because we are in the physical body and all of a sudden we were no longer in the physical body. This second one I described is the other way around, is we were out, but we return too sudden, too fast, and we have that perception that we are falling, and then we end up falling to just wake up in the physical body. But there are two other types of falling sensation that can happen related to the out-of-body experience. I mean, I'm not referring to just a simple dream, but these other two, they happen during the out-of-body experience. One of them is because sometimes we are just floating, like floating in our own bedroom, floating above the body. Some cases we can even see our physical bodies, and others we cannot, but it doesn't matter. The point is, we are there floating, maybe not even very conscious that we are outside of the body, but our lucidity, our awareness increases just a little bit, and enough for us to sense we are floating. And in our mind, we end up sensing or interpreting that as falling. So usually that tends to create to us the condition in which we have a sensation that we are falling, and it takes long, and we continue falling, and then finally we reach somewhere when we do in our minds, and usually that sensation of hitting the floor or something, which is not unpleasant at all, but that produces, because of conditioning, the effect that we end up waking up inside of our bodies or returning to our physical bodies. But that is different because it does not produce that physical reaction of jerking or having a very fast takeoff, disconnection, or re-entry into the body. So this is more of a long sensation of fall that is sometimes even pleasant, but some people may feel a little bit strange because to some people that tends to repeat a lot. So each of us, I think, will vary what type of falling sensation we experience the most. And the fourth falling sensation that is also very common is the one that happens when we are outside of the body and maybe we are volitating, flying somewhere with our non-physical bodies, and we may have a surprise all of a sudden because we notice we are very high, or maybe you are flying over some mountains and then you see a cliff, and then it produces almost like a surprise, like we feel all of a sudden like little shock for becoming aware of that high altitude. And then because of that conditioning in our minds produce a sensation as if we start falling, like we start losing the altitude that we had. So this is more related to the actual out-of-body experience. When it happens, because it produces a surprise, so there is some sort of emotion, even if it's just a little of emotion, that is enough many times to shake the condition of our lucidity, and therefore what we were until then a lucid or reasonably lucid and conscious out-of-body experience may become later some sort of dream or some sort of experience that is mixed with our own thoughts because of the emotion or surprise produced during the experience. So something for us to pay attention to when we interpret our out-of-body experience. So different types of falling sensation. Do you experience a different one? Please let me know. I would love to know if you have different experience, and also would love to know how you deal with your falling sensations. Thank you. I hope this is useful to you to explain experiences that you may have, and see you next time.